It gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome you all to the press conference of the second edition of the ALLES Cup, the inaugural rugby encounter between the SENANAYAKE College and St. Anthony's College, Kandy. As we all know, rugby in Sri Lanka has become one of the most sought after and passionately followed sports. And today, we come together not just to speak about a match, but to celebrate the beginning of a growing tradition and an exciting fixture, one that brings together two proud institutions united by history, respect, and shared love for the game. We have so much to discuss in this regard. However, before we commence, I'd like to invite all of you to rise up for the college songs of the St. Anthony's College, followed by the SENANAYAKE College. Thank you very much. You may take your seats now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the under-16 encounter which will be played for the Vikramaratna Trophy, recognizing a family that has long been a pillar of support for rugby as well as many other initiatives at the SENANAYAKE College. May I now invite Dinal Patirana, Head Prefect, to bring us the ALLES Cup, currently housed at the SENANAYAKE College, as we managed to clinch the trophy last year. This is the ALLES Cup. Who will take home the trophies? We have an exciting clash this weekend. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, let me quickly take a moment to introduce to you our panel of on the head table. On to my immediate left is Mr. Dhanushka Fernando, Vice Chairman of the Rugby Development Foundation of the SENANAYAKE College. On to his left is Mr. Lasantha Vitarana, President of Old Boys Association of the SENANAYAKE College. And then we have a young gentleman who takes on the reins as captain for the SENANAYAKE College, PERERA, captain of the first 15 team. And then we have Mr. Sampath Weeraboda, principal of the SENANAYAKE College. And then on to his left, we have Reverend Father Miguel Kasichetti, ward of the hostel, St. Anthony's College, Kandy. And then we have Mr. Vimukti Kodikara, once again a young gentleman who is the captain of St. Anthony's College. And thereafter Mr. Krishant Fernando, Chief Executive Officer, Antonian Rugby Board. And lastly, Mr. Altaf Hamid, President of the Old Antonian Rugby Football Club. Ladies and gentlemen, those are your members of the head table. And that being said, let me introduce, let me hand over the floor to Mr. Dhanushka Fernando, Vice Chairman of the Rugby Development Foundation of the SENANAYAKE College, to address the gathering.
Thank you, Amal. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I firstly want to give a warm welcome to Reverend Father Miguel Kasichetti and the members of the Antonian Rugby community who drove all the way down from Kandy. I know it can be a difficult drive at this time of the day, so thank you for being here and making it on time. And also to Principal Sampath Weeraboda, who is juggling a lot of tasks with the big match also happening this week, and all of the attendees at the head table here, along with all the dignitaries, especially recognizing Mr. Madhur Vikramaratna, who's trying to be with us here today as well. So the ALLES Cup is now about to begin its second year, journey towards its second year. And for us here at SENANAYAKE College and for the rugby community here, the cup represents a very significant part of our rugby calendar. And this was a very conscious decision that the school and the rugby fraternity at DS made last year when we sat with our friends from St. Anthony's College to really set up this encounter between the two schools. We spent a lot of time thinking about how should this encounter be played, what are sort of the boundaries that we need to set up, how do we set this up so that it is something that is played every year consistently, it is something that both schools and the rugby communities value, and there was a lot of thought process that went into it. And I'm really happy that we are now embarking on the second year with that same enthusiasm. Last year when we had our first match in Kandy, I must recognize that our friends from St. Anthony's set the bar very high. The match organizing, the post-match events, the pre-match events, everything was set. The standards are set very high, and we intend in return to continue that standard you have set, and for us to work together to continue to elevate that standard. And that's because for us this represents an important trophy. The name itself resonates very strongly at the SENANAYAKE College, and as an alumnus of St. Anthony's College, RIT ALLES represents a significant figure that we are all playing for with ALLES Cup. We are also happy that we have a trophy for under 16 this starting from the first year itself, and we hope that under 14 trophy would also come our way from next year as we play the third leg of this, or the third encounter. So welcoming all of you, and there's a calendar for us this year. So we have the press conference, and then on the day before the match, we started this tradition last year where the team from the SENANAYAKE visited St. Anthony's College. The St. Anthony's team welcomed the DS boys to school, gave a tour of the school, and that's the kind of camaraderie and relationship that we want to build both at the team level and also at the level of the old boys and the administrators. We want to build a very strong bond between our two schools. So we will continue that tradition this year as well, and we look forward to a entertaining and competitive match and ceremonies that follow thereafter. So thank you all for being here today, and we look forward to the second leg of ALLES Cup being an exciting one. Thanks.
A very big thank you to Mr. Fernando. Next, I'd like to hand over the floor to Reverend Father Miguel Kasi Chetty from St. Anthony's College to address the gathering.
Mr. Sampath Veragoda, Principal of DS SENANAYAKE College, and the distinguished old boys representing the various sporting bodies of both DS SENANAYAKE College and St. Anthony's College, Kandy. I come here representing Reverend Father Rector, Father Henry Bernard of St. Anthony's College, Kandy. Regrettably, he cannot come to this press conference due to his busy schedule. I am the warden of the hostel of St. Anthony's College, Kandy. As all of you know, Mr. R.I.T. ALLES was a preeminent educationalist in the history of our country. Both the SENANAYAKE College and St. Anthony's College can be proud to have, to rather play a part of this eminent man's history. He studied at St. Anthony's College, Candy for a short time, and he is also the founding principal of D.S. Senanayake College. But our fraternity, our cordiality is not limited to history. Our fraternity, our cordiality even endures to this day. We had our inaugural 50 over encounter between St. Anthony's College and D.S. Senanayake College a few weeks ago. And we are about to begin the for the second consecutive year, the ALLES trophy. So all these sports, we share a common interest in rugby, and it is very encouraging to see that both of us, both schools, engage in competitive sports. To see young people engage in these sports is really encouraging, because I have come to know many young people whose interests are fragmented. They are not consistent. One day they are interested in something, in another day it is something else. But rugby, cricket, or any other competitive sport for that matter teaches consistency, teaches dedication, teaches hard work for youth, and it is encouraging for us to see that. So, as the motto of the Olympics says, stronger, higher, faster. Let the stronger, let the faster, let the person who sets the bar the highest win in this tournament. It is not about crashing the opponent that is important, but it is always striving for excellence. It is always trying to be the better of oneself that is important. So let the best team win, and we all wish that this game will be played in a very good spirit of fraternity, with the spirit of common love for this great sport called rugby. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Father Miguel Casuchetti. Like Mr. Fernando mentioned, we sincerely appreciate you making your way all the way to Colombo to represent St. Anthony's College at this press briefing. Ladies and gentlemen, let me also remind you of a very interesting or rather significant fact. The SENANAYAKE College Rugby is celebrating 50 years. So this encounter, this ALLES Cup played this year, has so much more importance, has so much more meaning. And like Father mentioned, we want to make sure that there is a platform for our children, for our young players, to excel and be better, not by crashing their opponent, but to themselves. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, next I'd like to invite to address the gathering Mr. Sampath Veragodan, Principal of the SENANAYAKE College.
සියලු දෙනාටම සුබ සන්ධ්‍යාවක් වේවා. අප හිතවත් පියතුමා වෝඩන් හොස්ටල් වෝඩන් father Reverend Father Mughal, and also our Anthony විද්‍යාලයේ ආදිසි සංගමේ කරු සභාපතිතුමා, ඒ වගේම ක්‍රිෂාන් පෙරේරා CEO, ඒ වගේම ඇන්තනි රග්බි බෝඩ් එකේ CEO ක්‍රිෂාන් පෙරේරා, ඒ වගේම කැප්ටන් විමුක්ති පුතාතුමු ඒ ඇන්තනි විද්‍යාලයේ නියෝජනය කරමින් අපේ නියෝජ්‍ය විදුහල්පතිවරුන් ඇතුළේ සියලු දෙනාගෙනුත් මේ සේනානායක විද්‍යාලයේ පාර්ශවයෙන් මේ අවස්ථාවට සම්බන්ධ වෙන සියලුම ආදිසි සංගම සභාපතිතුමා ප්‍රධාන, මధుර වික්‍රමතුමා ප්‍රධාන, ඒ සියලු දෙනා සහ රගර් කැප්ටන් ඇතුළු RDF රගර් ඩෙවලොප්මන්ට් ෆවුන්ඩේෂන් වල ඒ සියලුම DS පාර්ශවයේ සියලු දෙනාගෙනුත් අවසරයි. ඔබ සියලු දෙනා මේ වෙනකොට දන්නවා දිගසේනානායක විද්‍යාලයේ මේ පසු කරන්නේ රගර් ක්‍රීඩාවේ 50 වෙනි සංවත්සරයේ බව. වසර 50ක් සපුරන මේ වෙලාව 1967 ආරම්භ කරපු ඉස්කෝලේ අද වෙනකොට 59 වෙනි අවුරුද්ද ගත කරන වෙලාවක රගර් ක්‍රීඩාවට අවුරුදු 50ක් කියන්නේ DS රගර් එක්ක තියෙන බැඳීම ඉතාමත් හොඳින් පෙන්නුම් කරන දෙයක්. 59 වන වසරක් ගත කරන පාසලක අවුරුදු 50ක් තිස්සේ රගර් ක්‍රීඩාව තිබෙනවා කියන එක එකම ඔබට පැහැදිලි වෙනවා DS සහ රගර් අතර තියෙනා වූ ඒ සම්බන්ධය. ඉතින් එවැනි සම්බන්ධයක් සමරන 50 වෙනි සංවත්සරයේ අවස්ථාවක තමයි අද අපි මේ මොහොතේ එකතු වෙලා ඉන්නේ. ඉතින් මේ එකතු වෙලා වෙන්න විශේෂ අවස්ථාවක් තමයි RIT ALLES කුසලානයේ සහ වික්‍රමරත්න කුසලානයේ වෙනුවෙන් පැවැත්වෙන ඇන්තනීස් විද්‍යාලය, කරුගස්තොට සෙන් ඇන්තනීස් විද්‍යාලය සහ DS සේනානායක විද්‍යාලය අතර පැවැත්වෙන රගර් වාර්ෂික රගර් තරගාවලිය සම්බන්ධව කරන මාධ්‍ය සාකච්ඡාව. ඔබ සමහරලාට දැනගෙන ඇති අපි මේ පවත්වන්නේ දෙවැනි එන්කවුන්ටර් එක, දෙවැනි තරගාවලිය. මීට ප්‍රථම ගිය අවුරුද්දේ අපි නුවරදී පළවෙනි ඒ රගර් තරගාවලිය පැවැත්වුණා ALLES කප් එක වෙනුවෙන් සහ වික්‍රමරත්න කප් එක වෙනුවෙන්. එය සමස්ත වශයෙන් සංවිධානය කරපු ඇන්තනීස් විද්‍යාලයේ සියලුම පාර්ශවවලට ආදේශ පාර්ශවයේ ඒ වගේම අපේ පරිපාලන විෂයෙන් වෝර්ඩන් ඇතුළේ සියලුම දෙනාට ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙන්නට ඕන. ඔබගේ ආරාධනයෙන් සහ අපගේ යෝජනාවෙන් මෙවැනි අවස්ථාවක් සංවිධානය කරලා ඇනුවල් එන්කවුන්ටර් එකක් විදිහට වාර්ෂික තරගාවලියක් විදිහට මේ රගර් තරගාවලිය ආරම්භ කිරීම සම්බන්ධයි. ඒ ආරම්භ කිරීමේ කළ තරගාවලියේ දෙවැන්න තමයි අද මේ කොළඹදී DS සේනානායක විද්‍යාලයේදී මෙවැනි දෙවැනි සාකච්ඡාවකින් දෙවැනි තරගාවලිය ආරම්භ වීමට නියමිතව තිබෙන්නේ. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා අපි හැමදෙනෙක්ම සතුටුයි ALLES සර් එක්ක බැඳීම එක පැත්තකින් එතුමාගේ පාසල් විදියට ඇන්තනීස් විද්‍යාලය සහ ගාල්ලස් ඇලෝසිස් විද්‍යාලයත් එක්ක අපේ තියෙන බැඳීම, එතුමා ආරම්භ කර පාසලත් එක්ක විදියට DS සේනානායක විද්‍යාලය මේ ත්‍රිත්වය ඇලෝසිස් විද්‍යාලය ගාල්ල, සෙන්ට් ඇන්තනීස් විද්‍යාලය කටුගස්තොට, DS සේනානායක විද්‍යාලය කොළඹහත මේ ත්‍රිත්වය අපි එක්තරා විදියකට බැඳුණු පාසලක් වඩපත් වීමත් එක්කම අපට තේරෙනවා RIT ALLES කියන්නේ කොතරම් විශිෂ්ට වූ යුග පුරුෂයෙක්ද කියන එක, විශිෂ්ට වූ අධ්‍යාපනඥයෙක්ද කියන එක. ඉතින් ඇන්තනීස් විද්‍යාලයත් එක්ක තියෙන විශේෂම බැඳීමක් වඩපත් වෙන්නට මේ අවුරුදු තවත් එක හේතුවක් වඩපත් වුණා. අපි පහුගිය මාසයේ අපි ආරම්භ කළා තවත් එන්කවුන්ටර් එකක් ඇන්තනීස් විද්‍යාලයත් එක්ක ක්‍රිකට් වෙනුවෙන්. අපි ඒ අනුව පහුගිය සතියේ පසුගිය දහදින දෙකකට විතර කලින් CCC ක්‍රීඩා පිටියේදී 50 overs තරගයක් විදියට අත්හදා බැලීමක් විදියට ඇන්තනීස් විද්‍යාලය සහ අපි අතර වාර්ෂික එක්දින තරගාවලියක ආරම්භයක සනිටුහන තිබ්බා. එය අපේ ඉදිරි ඉලක්කයක් වෙනවා. ඉදිරි අවුරුද්දේ සිට වාර්ෂික එක්දින තරගාවලියක් සහ වාර්ෂික T20 තරගාවලියක් විදියට යෝජනා කරන්නට, ඒ වෙනුවෙන් නම නියම කරන්නට අරවින්ද මුරලි කුසලානය කියන නම. දෙපාර්ශ්වයේ එකගතාවයේ පරිදි ඉදිරියේදී අපිට අදහසක් තියෙනවා සෑම වර්ෂයකදීම 50 overs සහ T20 තරගාවලියකුත් අපි ඇන්තනීස් විද්‍යාලයත් එක්ක තියන්න. එහෙම සිද්ධ වුණොත් කටුගස්තොට සෙන්ට් ඇන්තනීස් සහ DS සේනානායක විද්‍යාලය කියන්නේ අපි දෙගොල්ලන්ගේ තියෙන බැඳීම, අපි දෙගොල්ලන්ගේ තියෙන සම්බන්ධය රගර් ක්‍රිකට් කියන දෙකක් එක්කම බද්ධ වෙන්න ගන්නවා. මේ බද්ධ වීමේ ප්‍රතිඵල විදියට තමයි අද අපි මේ සුහදතාවයත් එක්ක අද දෙවනි රගර් එන්කවුන්ටර් එකට මේ එකතු වෙලා ඉන්නේ. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා අපි හැමදෙනෙක්ම අද සතුටුයි අපිත් එක්ක බෑහෙන, අපිත් එක්ක වැඩ කරන, අපට දැනෙන දැනුමම එයාටත් තියෙන ඒ ලෙන්ගතුකම් සහ සම්බන්ධකම් ඒ විදිහටම හදාගත්ත පාසල් දෙකක් එකතු වෙලා කටයුතු කරන එක. DS සේනානායක විද්‍යාලය තමන්ගේ 20 වෙනි ලීග් මැච් එකට සූදානම් වෙන මේ සිකුරාදා ඒ තියල්ල එක්කම මේ රගර් ටූර්නමන්ට් එකත් එකටම එකතු වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒ රගර් ටූර්නමන්ට් එකේ එක් තරගයක් විදිහට තමයි අපි මේ අවස්ථාවේ මේ තරගය පවත්වන්නේ. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා මම විශ්වාස කරනවා පහුගිය වර්ෂයේදී DS සේනානායක විද්‍යාලයේ ජයග්‍රහණය ගත්ත 29කට 26කට 19ක් විදිහට ඉතින් ජයග්‍රහණය සියලු දේ එක අපිට ආසයි, අපිට කැමති ක්‍රීඩාවේ තියෙන මානසිකත්වය, ක්‍රීඩාවේ තියෙන යහගුණය, ක්‍රීඩාවේ තියෙන ජීවය, ක්‍රීඩාවේ තියෙන ක්‍රියාශීලී බව මේ සියල්ල එක්ක මේ පාර්ශව දෙක ඇන්තනීස් සහ DS කියන පාර්ශව දෙක ලස්සනට රගර් තරගයක් පවත්වනවා දකින්න. ඒ නිසා අපි ඔබ සියලු දෙනාටම ආරාධනා කරනවා මේ මාසේ 9 වෙනිදා අපිත් එක්ක එකතු වෙන්න. මේ මාසේ 9 වෙනිදාට අපි මේ දෙවැනි DS සේනානායක විද්‍යාලය සහ ඇන්තනීස් විද්‍යාලය සමග පැවැත්වෙන මේ 9 වෙනි සෙනසුරාදාට දේශනානායක විද්‍යාලය සහ ඇන්තනීස් විද්‍යාලයත් එක්ක පැවැත්වෙන RIT ALLES කුසලානය සහ වික්‍රමරත්න කුසලානය වෙනුවෙන් පැවැත්වෙන රගර් තරගාවලිය අපි ආරම්භ කරනවා. ඒ සඳහා සියලුම රගර් ලෝලීන්ට, සියලුම ක්‍රීඩා ලෝලීන්ට, සියලුම DS ආදිශිෂ්‍ය පරපුරට සහ සියලුම ඇන්තනීස් විද්‍යාලයේ ආදිශිෂ්‍ය පරපුරට අපි ආරාධනා කරනවා මේ දර්ශනීය තරගය, මේ සුහදත්වයේ තරගය, මේ සෙනෙහසේ නවාතැනේ තරගයට අපිත් එක්ක එකතු වෙන්න කියලා. එhmenan සිල්ලාටම බොහොම ස්තුතියි.
Thank you very much to Mr. Sampath Veeragoda, the principal of the SENANAYAKE College. As he mentioned, an exciting week, not only for rugby, for cricket, and many sports at the SENANAYAKE College. What I mentioned before, this is a special year, this is the 50th year. One of my colleagues from St. Anthony's also made it a point to quickly text me and say this is their 70th year. So it's going to be a special encounter for sure this Saturday, and it's going to be an exciting clash. We hope. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, my pleasure to hand over the floor next to Mrs. Shabit Mutalib from the Antonian Rugby Board to address you all. Next, Shabit, over to you.
Thank you, Amas. Good evening, Reverend Father Miguel, and the principal of DS SENANAYAKE College, distinguished guests, members of the media, and the fellow representatives from the two schools, St. Anthony's College and DS SENANAYAKE College. So, talking about this ALLES Cup, I think I'm honored to represent the Eagles Rugby Board in this distinguished forum where we are building a legacy that is yet to come. We are at the early stage of it, and I have witnessed it last year as well. And something that we discussed, the cup itself, the ALLES Cup itself has a special, I would say, a story behind it. The thought that it had gone through. So that's made of copper, which is a breathing metal, if I'm not mistaken. So that is something that will continue to live through, and as the people who are witnessing it today, we are witnessing it for the second day, and it could go on to 50, 100, 150, 150 years. And what makes this special is that, yes, you would see much commercially, much, historically superior fixtures. But what makes this special is this has a purpose. And this is something that's been built in the modern era, I would say, because the trophies that we talk about, the legacies, the heritage, is something that had always been created by generations before. And we had been always the followers of it, or we had been the people who had been taking it forward. But we can proudly claim this as something, a legacy that we have built, we had initiated, and I'm really honored about it. And the message that I would like to deliver for these players, the parents, and people who are watching. I think rugby is always special in molding characters, because that's something that you will not get in the regular syllabus. And I hope the principals would agree that definitely this sport, especially a team sport, would teach you that character, that resilience, that confidence, and you build to be a special person when you come out of that school and when you step into that real world. So these two institutions, especially being from Kandy and Colombo, it's not about what you play on the field, it's not about how hard you play, how well you play, and how desired you are to get that victory at this cup. But the real meaning of this event and this cup, it starts afterwards. When you are moving into Colombo, when you are going into Kandy, or when you go out of this country, you have a colleague from a fellow school that you can always look up to, because life is all about connections, it's about network, and we know someone who knows someone, and someone knows someone, and that's how this world runs. And I think we go a long way as friends coming from the same batch. So the platform, the emphasis that I want to make is, don't just look at this as a rugby fixture that runs for 70 minutes, continued by a fellowship dinner, and then you go off in the cup victorious, or as on the opposite side of it. But build something beyond that, make connections, have stories to speak, and definitely the name, the late Mr. RIT ALLES would be happy to have that because something that made him special from so many people who have been in these two schools or institutes is because of his values, his purpose, and what he brought into the table. So definitely, while you participate in this match and while you participate in this historical moment, bring some value to it, get the best out of it, and always act as a, what do you call, an example for the fellow kids who are watching you all. Because while being on the field, those 30 kids, the 30 men who play rugby are being followed by so many people that we don't know of until we walk out and someone comes and tells us, you played well, or I noticed this. You never know who is watching you. So you have a big responsibility on your shoulders while you be on the field. So I know rugby is a bit of an aggressive game, and sometimes you will definitely have some blood rushing through your veins, and sometimes you might throw punches. But that's fine. But it's how you react to it. As the two captains are here, I think that's your responsibility to make sure those aggressive moments have been managed, set an example, shake hands, and after that final whistle is blown, you guys are fellows, friends, and colleagues who have been fighting for your own school. So make sure that we build network, we build connections, and we bring meaning to it, and that's what will make sure that this ALLES Cup will hold a special place in this rugby calendar 10 years or few decades after. So it's not about the match, it's not about the ticket price, it's not about how many people watch it, but what's the purpose of that event and what it delivers to this society. So thank you very much. All the very best to both the captains, and I wish that this ALLES Cup, the event, goes to decades and probably centuries that we will get to be celebrated. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Shabik Mutalif from the Antonian Rugby Board. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all we have from our end. We'd like to open the forum now to our friends from the media. We can pass around the mic if you have any questions, any clarifications.